you should vote for a Teen Burger or something. Yeah. And we're back! Vote for Teen Burgers.
Yeah.
The only way forward.
Always add fries.
Always add fries. No, the onion rings. Delicious.
No, fries.
Who is the curly fries? Is that the Harvey's?
I believe that's Harvey's? Yeah.
Because those are scientifically weird.
Yeah, they are scientifically weird, but they also have fried pickles as an option. You get
gross.
4 spears. No, they're delicious.
No.
Is it bread and butter?
No,
is it bread and butter pickles, or is it dill?
No, it's dill.
I don't know how I feel about that.
You sir, are wrong.
Bread and butter, better that any day.
Welcome to the international segment.
Yeah, we're here to talk about serious stuff.
We forgot the list in the kitchen. No wonder we're so off track.
Oh, okay, that's how it happened.
We're deep frying.
It comes with peppercorn ranch to dip it.
Very nice.
It's delicious. This segment brought to you by Harvey's, because I'm hungry. So yes, international / Trump. Impeach Trump. Actually, speaking of chanting Trump, in the episode last night, oddly enough, I didn't see the segment here. They had Mark Critch done up as Trump. And so to get the appropriate Trump standing in front of an audience thing, they turned the cameras around and they had him standing in front of the audience. Now, since we are part of a queer lobbying group, we are literally the queer lobby, we had no interest in holding up Trump signs and standing behind just, it's a bad photo waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we were moved off camera, which is, thank you.
Yeah.
But we did have to chant Trump, 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 while Mark Rich does a very, very good imitation. Excellent, actually.
I'll have to check this out.
Yeah.
You know what the meanest thing about Trump is today? This should be Boris Johnson's very bad day.
Yes, but no, he has to share it with an American, which means, of course, no spotlight.
No spotlight. No one will remember him. He might win a BAFTA, but
is that two candles in the wind?
The Academy Award hopefully will go to Trump.
The Academy Award will go to Trump. The BAFTA will go to Johnson. Everyone will agree that the tossing of Boris Johnson was artistically better, but really, everyone went to the theater to see Trump get his ass kicked.
It's the same wig 2 different ways. It's like the wig this way and the wig that way.
There you go.
I feel like
2 different styles.
I feel like 2 things are happening. First, I feel like we're all celebrating way too early.
Yes.
And second, I feel like we might be letting some of our biases show with just possibly squeaking
I'm
through.
shining a light.
Golly
Despite our historic absolute commitment to unbiased
He
commentary.
has said all of these things about himself at certain times in his life.
That's true. You can't really insult the man because he
doesn't
wallows in
care.
it to start with.
Which of them are you talking about?
Yes.
Exactly.
The one who either put his dick in a pig head. He ran a tabloid. I believe at some point Trump owned part of a tabloid as well. But Trump had casinos fail. It is very difficult to make a casino fail if you have the initial investment. It's essentially like setting up a money machine. All you need is the money to get started, and then it produces money. Because it's a money machine.
With freaking laser beams
With
on
freaking laser beams on it. So, you gotta be... The mafia were able to run casinos for decades at a profit and still steal from them.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't
win.
Yeah. But he is finally facing impeachment in the form of an impeachment inquiry that was announced this day by Nancy Pelosi, finally getting off her butt and doing something more than smirking.
On the same day.
And DP is her initials.
That makes a lot of sense.
What's the D for?
The married
Diane.
name? No, there's a married
Diane.
Hello, Diane.
It's absolutely like an East Coast Diane.
Diane, that's great.
Or Dwayne.
Dwayne. With
Nancy
D
Dwayne.
apostrophe.
Anyway, NDP. Yeah, you know she.
But yes, at the same day, Boris Johnson Boris Johnson's government, that is, but hey, let's be very specific. He'd like to be a one-person government himself. Mm-hmm. Bit of an authoritarian asshole. He got...
Old Beej.
Oh,
BJ.
Oh, BJ.
Bojo.
Bo. He got smacked down by a high court justice who was dressed like a supervillain.
From Harry Potter.
From Harry Potter.
It was heavily implied by said spider brooch adorned lady that she did not say that he lied to the Queen. But
No,
she
she
sure
did.
didn't. No, she did not. She specifically did not say that he lied to the Queen. But she sure did dance all around it and basically say that he did not lie to the Queen.
Yeah.
And how's that going to go down? Britain is many things, and I make fun of them for the monarchy a lot, but like, I still don't think there's too many people in Britain that would be happy about the Prime Minister lying to the Queen.
Yeah, and it's not that it's illegal in England to lie to the Queen, but technically it is illegal for the Prime Minister to lie to the Queen when getting assent on something. It's a form of, like, fraud.
At the highest
Exactly.
level.
It's
fluting the, like,
yeah.
the absolute lily. I don't know what...
Fluting the lily!
Absolute lily.
We're fluting the lily.
Fluting the lily, fluting the absolute lily, if that doesn't become a new the hot political expression of the season.
Finally, we have something to put on a t-shirt.
Fluting the
absolute lily.
With Bojo's fucking face on the back.
We can say that to people and they'll think we're being nasty.
That's great. Doing anything
And
important, or
it's
you
just
just
a
fluting
daffodil
the
hat.
absolute lily?
So I don't really. So yeah, if things are early. Johnson will get smacked down. I believe there's an election coming there now. Isn't
Well, the
there?
important thing is
Still no election.
Still no election.
But Burkow, the Speaker of the House, is now in power.
Yeah,
because
Parliament
he's going to
reconvenes
set...
tomorrow.
Oh,
No,
ass kicking.
and Burkow's going to be setting the docket, not against the government, but for the proceedings required to get through Brexit. Like, he's starting to lay out a path.
There's probably, hopefully, going to be a vote of no confidence now. There should be.
I think
There
that's
absolutely
fair.
should be. They should hold a vote of no confidence. Well, I guess they need to demand an extension first. I don't know.
Or maybe they should just drop this stupid
Let's
shit.
call the whole thing off.
Seriously.
The Labour Party voted today not to call the whole thing off. So the Lib Dems...
God, they're so dumb.
I know. The Lib Dems have at least finally gotten their act together and come out as Remainers. They're like, no, we're just going to cancel Brexit. So they're a clear choice, which is nice to have again in Britain, presumably. But yeah, Labour took the... After a day of public fighting, took the let's wait and see approach.
Oh my God, they are so...
It's not
useless.
going to work. You have to vote Remain now.
Yeah.
You've seen the risks. You've seen what the reality is. You're allowed to regret your vote. You're allowed to regret other people's votes. It's not disregarding the public will if it's been shown that it's going to be a complete disaster.
Listen to the fish lady from the north.
The fish lady from the north.
She knows what she's talking about.
That's great.
At this point, I would be willing to completely forget the whole thing if they just dropped it and we just won't talk about what happened in England for the last,
That's great.
4 years.
History books for that period will just say nothing happened.
Yeah,
What?
didn't they win some fucking sport thing? There was cricket. There was cricket. I'm sure there was a cricket.
They'll invent a new sport called Brexit, so that when everybody was talking about it...
Yeah.
Oh, you remember that
Oh, yeah.
No,
sport?
this is the price.
Brexit. Wink,
No.
wink, 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 wink.
This is the price Europe will pay for this on their side. They will let Britain, just in all history books, replace everything Brexit related with, just for these 4 years in a row, Britain won Eurovision.
Yeah, they could say that.
That's perfect. Nothing else happened. Nothing, because the European Union is so strong, no one would ever want to leave. It is a harmonious, cohesive environment.
Oh, yes.
However, every other country sure did lose Eurovision those 4 years in a row, too. Great songstress, Isle Britain.
Maybe they can have, everyone... England's allowed to have this ignored if every other European nation gets to call off one thing, and no Germany.
No.
You don't get to forget about that.
No, that's so... oh, dear. Wow, that's so bad. What should every country forget?
Right?
What would every country want?
Every single one of them has something
that's great.
horrible.
Germany's is relatively
No,
obvious.
Germany, you're not allowed to forget that.
That's amazing.
Wasn't there like some Scandinavian countries that were pretty horrendous on skates, like slaughtering? Like
what?
Yes, yes, they
Like
they were able to fend off
hundreds of thousands.
No, it wasn't a Scandinavian country. It was our dear friend the Netherlands.
The Netherlands.
They got on skates and cut up the Spanish.
The Scandinavians were on skis. They did all they slaughtered Nazis on skis.
Okay, no,
yeah.
The Dutch are murderous on skates.
That's fantastic.
And the Spanish, hot-footed, warm-footed Spanish, have no idea how to cope on the ice.
They would probably choose to abandon. Actually, speaking of international, that's not on the list. Spain has officially decided, and I believe their high court has ruled, to exhume Franco from his over-elaborate tomb and hopefully toss his body in something more befitting a fucking genocidal asshole.
Recycling? Soylent Green?
Just toss him into the Atlantic.
Feed him to the fishes?
Gives a shit. Feed him as tapas to a polar bear. I don't care.
Is he still in like a big public...
Yep. He's still in his
Toss
big...
him in a urinal trough.
Yeah, exactly. He's still in his, like, fortress to fascism or whatever. But not no more, he won't be. Goodbye, dickhead.
It's like that shrine in Japan with all the World War II.
Oh, I bet that's super awkward.
Yeah. It should be.
It's
It's possibly not.
Yeah, the way that... Yeah. No.
I don't think Japan's been up to anything lately while we're in this international segment.
Japan hasn't done anything bad lately.
While we're on that side of the planet, though, Australia got fucking kicked out from speaking at the climate UN event because they're so into coal and destroying the coral reefs right now.
Oh my god.
They were like, no, Australia has a bunch, you just fuck off.
You're not even allowed.
You're not even allowed to come
Yeah,
in.
they did. They do have an unfortunately close relationship because while the Australian people are great, their government is almost routinely horrible.
Mm-hmm.
And what is it? Australia has gone through something like I'm probably going to get the exact number wrong, but between 40 and 60 prime ministers since like the Second World War. They rapid fire their leaders. It's incredible.
This one? No.
Bloody hell.
In fairness, they get a pass on the one that disappeared at sea.
Yeah. And there's that one time one disappeared and was probably eaten by a shark.
Greta Thunberg got to speak.
Yeah, and
I believe it was at same conference.
I believe that the entire UN learned what it's like to be talked down to by a 16-year-old girl.
Mm-hmm. Good, as they should. Yeah, she took no prisoners. That was great.
But she speaks really simply, which I love. Like,
yeah.
It's not like super intelligent in like the.
It's not overly verbose. It's not going off. It was just like. It was, literally, how dare you?
Well,
you
that's
pricks.
exactly what she said, and she's one of the only
Yeah.
people who can probably say that.
Yeah, you're allowed to if you literally paddle your way across an ocean to speak.
She's managed to capture the public imagination. I just hope it manages to accomplish something now.
Yeah, it would be wonderful if that was finally the thing. Where it's like, no, you just needed one person to be like...
It's got everyone talking. This is the first national election I can ever remember where the environment actually seems to be, I would say, enough of an issue for people that it might prevent people at least from giving Scheer power, because he obviously has no plan when it comes to climate change or the environment at large.
And yeah, even people in his strongholds are facing it now.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can't connect the fact that their stuff just burned, blew, or floated away, in a wave, to climate change that their elected official is denying, then shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like what riding in any country, in any world, in any place on this earth has not had a disaster?
Probably Calgary Central.
Well, drought of them.
Social
drought. Yeah.
That was harsh. We also got back to national. This is the international segment. We probably shouldn't tear up Calgary during the international segment.
No, not
presenting
just Calgary Central.
For good people. Okay, so there was the whole Joker thing, but do we want to get into the whole Joker thing, or do we want to get into the whole European side of the big bad day first?
Let's do the European, and then we'll get around to that. And no, we're not going into pop culture. We're going into national security on that one, but we'll get to that. Europe.
That's true. A lot of our topics tonight could have gone on either show. Maybe people should listen to both of them.
They should definitely probably listen to Please Won't You Shut Up.
They're quite complimentary.
Very complimentary.
I believe we're on a new platform that I have to look up later.
Yes, we are. This show is also on iHeartRadio. Thank you, iHeartRadio. We heart you too. That makes 12 platforms we are on.
I heart all of them individually and know what they all are.
Yes, it's not at all a thing that I have to probably work to remember.
It's a nice fine dozen.
A dozen? Jesus Christ. How the hell did we end up on a dozen broadcast channels?
Careful planning as reference from the single page super scrawled 5 minutes before the show.
Truly beautiful handwriting.
No, truly beautiful penmanship, yes.
Yeah. The only letters I can see have T's.
The only thing I can barely make out in the margin is Boris Johnson not off to a very good start. Watching the British Parliament has become one of my new favorite entertainments.
John Bercow is my spirit animal.
John Bercow is everyone's spirit animal.
Fight so like boy, and he just gets right into.
He's a little more eloquent than that, just slightly, but yeah, rips into everyone. He's white. I wish Canada had a speaker like that when our parliament gets silly.
Our speakers are like, yeah, Reagan's a fine dude and whatever, but none of our speakers have any balls.
You need to be verbose.
Magnetism.
Well, exactly. You need to be verbose. You need to have magnetism. You need to be able to take control of a parliament when they're screaming at each other, and it's only great, or it's only easy for them in our case because we are Canadians and we only get riled up when there's hockey on.
I'm glad for Britain's sake that their Supreme Court decided this unanimously. I think.
Yeah, because any doubt
very fraught. I think it'll be fraught enough with people questioning the independence of the court. Which, when you start doing that, when you start questioning your court, when it's presumably not obviously stacked like it is in some countries, some of them in a general
also went
southern
through
direction.
devolved government at first, and then to the National Supreme Court.
Yeah, I suppose it had double wins like Scotland, and then this. We'll ignore Northern Ireland's contribution to this judiciary.
Dup.
No.
But wait, what was I going to say? Shit. My mind literally was like, okay, here's a full structure, and then throw it in the bin.
It's fair. It's all kind of mind-numbing. There's so much fucking shit that's happened today. But
what do you think Boris Johnson's fantasy throughout his entire life of being Prime Minister was?
Oh man, definitely not being the record-holding loser for every facet. Like, unanimously losing before the Supreme Court, losing record numbers of votes in Parliament, breaking those records that were set by yourself. losing Winston Churchill's grandson.
Yeah, 21 members. One walked away. He fired the rest.
This is like, I love the whole term poison chalice. Like, this is exactly what this is. At what point does he just resign? And I don't think there is that point, because he probably stands to lose so much. I presume lose so much money if Brexit fails.
If not money,
I can't understand why he'd be fighting for it so hard otherwise.
I'm sure that there is very straightforward, literal reasons like that of like money and investment, and he's made the name of this and this and that. But I also suspect that he's the kind of guy where this is a personal thing. He can't be wrong on this scale. What else am I wrong about? I can't back down.
I think he's just wanted to have an election that he has ran. I don't think he ever really wanted to be Prime Minister without winning an election.
Yeah. He just wants the public acclaim.
Yeah. I think he just wants to win.
He wants to win. He wants to be liked, and none of it's working.
That's why he got to the top.
Stupid asshole. He deserves every horrible, in terms of politics, thing that is coming for him.
Mm-hmm. No, it's true. And if you did mislead the Queen, again, for the millionth time, definitely not a monarchist. But there are certain things that you do not do, and be the British Prime Minister and mislead the Queen is probably pretty high up there, one in British politics.
Oh, well, God.
Right after another Prime Minister who probably spoke more times than not to the Queen. I think she was like almost weekly going to the Queen because she had to.
Who, May?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
She was like.
But either way, like, to do that in the midst of what is obviously a national crisis and a constitutional crisis on top of everything.
That's true.
And with the option of suspension as well, because suspension, you allow all of the bills that are still running to complete their course.
Mm-hmm.
If they're like, if they need like 2 days at this office to write through and everybody read, you can still do that. But prorogue actually just
cuts it,
kills it all.
And anything is done.
Yeah.
This is the thing. I thought they couldn't have another vote of no confidence in this session.
Not on.
Like sometimes Westminster itself defies Westminster the concept and the export.
I've really enjoyed watching and learning this much about Westminster style.
It's a thing.
Politics, because you normally don't.
Yeah.
You normally see, like, it's just America, and it's all kind of like, super dramatic, but also kind of weirdly unintelligible because it's not what we do here kind of thing. But this is a little what we do here, a little closer to.
This is not what we do.
This is not what we do here.
That should be a show in itself.
Yeah.
This is not what we do.
We don't do this here.
It's just a really super boring version of the West Wing. The West Block, yes.
Is it like Michael Jackson, everybody's walking backwards through the halls?
That would be
too
interesting.
No, we're not allowed to make any references to him anymore. I don't think he's Cosby level verboten, but like...
No, but
that's a movement reference.
Yeah.
That's a movement reference I'm not referencing.
I'm never... No, I'm not guilty. Not guilty. Renew.
I was thinking 1984 references, yeah.
Oh my God.
You accidentally let something slip that is no longer true.
Yes.
It's a former truth. A form true.
Form true. Meh.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, I feel more hopeful today about not being in the darkest timeline politically for the sake of our southern neighbors and also the mother country. Like,
yeah, it would be lovely if finally stuff is getting better and it actually does follow through. Now, if there starts to be a low momentum on good stuff like that, I may actually even start rewatching SNL.
Here's what I don't understand throughout all of this. Britain has no formal written constitution.
Correct.
Yeah.
That is fucked.
Yeah, it's kind of part of the articles of their last written constitution because there were issues with it and it led to the Glorious Revolution. So technically, the current English system of government that they've had since before 1700 is a revolutionary government.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So one thing I will give Britain.
It's the uncle in the room. It's like the crazy uncle that's got those 2 places and owns that part of that thing and
exactly. And you can't get rid of them because the whole thing's standing on them. Like they pay the rent, but you just don't want to talk about them.
Yeah.
So yeah, they have no written constitution because the last time they had a written constitution, it got abused and so over a few times they had to overthrow their leaders, once with a beheading, the other by turning to the Prince of Orange from Holland. And they had an official bloodless invasion where they overthrew their own government and then asked a foreign leader to come and they allowed him to install himself and overthrow what was left, and that's what England is now. That's what England's power is. It's actually hilarious. That. Yeah.
I've been learning a lot. I need to learn a lot about British history.
Oh, welcome to the jungle.
They're a current mess, but yeah.
You ever heard of Boggle?
Yeah.
It's
like Boggle.
It's life Boggle. Also languages and dialects and areas that you travel through. it is a melting pot is kind.
It's a combination of Mad Libs and Boggle, where every time you come to a thing that you have to fill in, you just smack that bubble, and you write whatever comes up. Yeah. And that's how you get English history.
Seems like a great idea to add public referendums on super complex issues into the midst of all that.
I mean, you have to.
Like a fabulous idea.
Also, everybody British is extremely precise in organizational skills.
Yes.
So, like, everything has been not even meticulously, like, neurotically preserved.
But still, once every 500 years, the English people, lose their mind and you get an anarchy. A literal anarchy.
Oh, so that's what's up.
Yeah, probably. It's just going through one of their little phases of anarchy, and that's a thing that is totally natural to the British. They have anarchies. They power through them. There's still pop music, and you can still get a nice kebab on the corner.
Which doesn't sound so bad.
Hey, it's still
Then
England.
again, everything looks like a complete hot goddamn mess over there right now.
It's still England. In every possible way, it's still England.
Every country at its best and worst is like a teenager.
Yeah.
Like
some are responsible but have outbursts, and some are absolute shit shows but
genuine.
Yeah, genuine.
Like,
what is Canada? Are we like a pair of teenagers? Like,
no, we're the overstressed babysitter who ends up getting addicted to like pep pills and some shit. we're the Saved by the Bell special episode where she starts screaming, "I'm so excited! I'm so excited!"
Like heavy on the crimp.
Exactly. Everyone thinks we're super responsible, but when we decide not to be, we just drop everything, and everyone's like, "I thought I knew her."
I feel like we're overdue to go full hot mess, and I hope I'm wrong on that.
Yeah, hot messes happen.
Mm-hmm. But this isn't about us.
No.
It's the outside world segment.
Yes.
I feel like we should finish on a super positive note, which is you can't go to the movies safely anymore, which is positive for me because I'm, pop culturally absent, so
I mean,
don't go anyway.
Sorry, I must take a pop culture moment to...
the day has come.
The day has come. Lesbian Batwoman. It's going to be great.
Is this part of the CW universe?
It is.
Nice.
Alright.
Yeah, no,
they do really good science fiction. I have to tell.
I'll check it out.
They paint a world.
Yeah.
Very well.
And they already had her appear in a guest moment, and she's got really good chemistry with Supergirl, and so it's like, yeah, make that thing. I don't care if it's sexual or not. They have both chemistry and sexual chemistry, but it's like, go wherever you want with that. I'll watch this until I die. I'm good.
Which hopefully won't be connected because
yes.
you'll be watching it for the comfort of your own home.
Yeah. Anyway, yes. Back to the subject. So yes, the American FBI, as opposed to the Puerto Rican. No,
I was gonna go with Portuguese.
Portuguesa. And the DOD, the Department of Defense in America, once again, has issued an official warning of safety, specifically to federal employees and military members, but this is also for the public, not to go to major theaters showing the upcoming film The Joker, because they're picking up a lot of chatter, and there is a history of people shooting up theaters in the name of the Joker. Now, we talked about this briefly, not this specifically, but that phenomenon on an episode of Tales from the Gutter, in which we discussed the fact that the Joker is possibly the only fictional character, no, not the only fictional character to have a kill body count, but the fictional character with the highest body count, that without getting into religious debates.
I wasn't giggling about God when you said fictional character.
Yeah, no, you just pointed out.
I swear, I did no such thing. I was pointing at the attic.
Anyway,
lots of books up there.
Yeah, lots of books out there. But yeah, no, he already has a known body count despite being fictional, and it is completely expected with the next one. If it doesn't come in an event during its showing, at some point, as happens with films like this, someone will be inspired to kill someone in the name of the character.
And someone out there is going to blame the people who make this movie for that they should have known that and blah, 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 blah. Fuck off. That's the same thing people said about The Interview, like, and pissing off North Korea, for Christ's sakes. Now, like, 8 times as many listeners. But
I loved The Interview. That was a great movie, too.
It was hilarious. And it's not the movie's fault if people interpret it in that kind of horrible way. There are some films and some, cultural products that do encourage terrible things in that way, but they're much more blatant, much more wrong-headed. This is just a story that people are, unfortunately, unfairly inspired or wrongly inspired by the main character.
Yeah, and it becomes one of those things of like it's almost unfortunate because if you had shown this movie before the last 5 years, you probably wouldn't end up inspiring anything, or at least you'd inspire like one thing. Like there was one Slender Man almost murder. There was a mutilation connected to Slender Man. And that would probably be the level of something you get. But now that all these assholes are connected, you can probably get like a bloom effect of one playing off another. And it's not like postponing it a few years is going to necessarily end that, because the bloom effect is a combination of culture and technology. And I'm not going to give up my social media and technology just because some fuckheads are misusing it. And they're not going to give up their crazy ideology just because they're hurting society, because that seems to be the point. So you kind of either you have to shit or get off the pot. You have to flush the whole film and never talk about it again, or you have to just release it and hope that people aren't stupid assholes and think that Joaquin Phoenix is telling them to, murder Suzanne Sarandon or something. Something weird like that.
You can't stop art simply because of fear.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's
true.
I think that's the line of they win.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And at some point, at least, attempting to mimic that art becomes laughable. Like, it's no longer cool. It's more just like, oh, that's so old. Like, no one would dress up like a droog and kill someone today because people would just fucking laugh at you. You wouldn't get that. People who do that want to be seen as cool or fearsome, and it'd just be like, you're a fucking asshole. And at some point, that'll finally happen with the Joker. And in certain areas, it has. There's a guy, I can't remember if it's Portland or somewhere else, but it's a major city in America. And there's this one guy who likes to dress up like Heath Ledger's Joker and stalk people, but like publicly stalk them. So it's like he's not going into your house or anything, but he will follow you home. But he'll do it openly because he's just like, no, I'm just playing a character. And it's like, no, these are criminal acts.
You're still doing this.
Yeah, you're intentionally freaking people out. And you do have a history of violence. So maybe you should knock it the fuck off.
Yeah.
I believe he's in jail at the moment for not, despite court order. Yeah, he just can't help himself. He can't help himself, is what he says. I have to go through becoming the Joker. And just like being on the precipice of doing something truly Jokery, which he would have if he was allowed to continue.
People have made this argument forever, though. Like, fucking Dexter had the same argument, for Christ's sakes.
No, it's true. And, like, for the 99.99999% of people, it's a bullshit excuse. And then you reach that one asshole.
Before that. It was explicit lyrics back then.
Yeah. Like, someone's always going to ruin the fun. But
in
that
the
doesn't mean
1800s, it was ankles.
No, it's true. Listomania. People were told not to listen to France Liszt because it made you hyperventilate. Walden. The book Walden was banned because morose fucking teenagers in the Gothic age would kill themselves following the lead of the book. People did this hundreds of years ago.
Yeah.
You know.
And now it's 13 Reasons Why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just, well...
But you can't ban this shit. Like, you can't. I'm sorry. You have to talk about things. And this gets me back to the original segment, which is now the last show.
Yes.
Why we can't keep fucking batshit Bernier out of the debates.
Oh.
You have to talk about things.
I understand. We can...
Talk about it, but don't give a platform.
Exactly. There's more power talking about him without him there and not having the voice.
I do understand the danger, because I understand the power of lies in the public sphere, because I do live north of America.
Yeah.
Hoops are good for some things like that.
And like, there should be a certain amount of trust there. There's no good faith in Bernier not to use it to spread fear. If it was a group that didn't use fear and hate as their base platform, we'd probably be having a different discussion.
Why was Stephen Harper
the SNP,
the last debates then?
The Scottish National Party. The Scottish National Party wants to separate but become part of a greater community, which is very different.
I love that you're willing to go. Are we going to do this? Are we going to talk about Scottish nationalism versus Quebec nationalism and your respect for one and your misunderstanding and disrespect of the other?
I have no disrespect for the other.
Mm-hmm.
I think the two situations have very different circumstances.
Yeah, I agree.
Creatively.
They do. I agree that they do. I think they're just weighted completely oppositely, those differences, from what you think they are.
No, I would think there's a more interconnected relationship of countries in Europe that makes an easier transition, where in Canada and North America in general, you would be separating from a lot of big pieces.
I don't know. There is a free trade agreement between all the countries over here that they could get it on pretty fast, I bet.
Maybe, but I'm just saying, like, there's more warranted for...
I love this. This is a frequent argument in our house.
It's not an argument, it's a general discussion.
I really do hope for Britain's sake that we don't see it break up, as much as I know you love your...
The smartest person in the room in Britain right now is a separatist to stay with Europe.
I don't...
Is a separatist to stay with Europe.
Yes, but that's been Scottish nationalism for like 1,000 years. They've always been like, fuck you, I'm gonna go with the French.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we wanted to do in the first place, and we're just trying to do it.
Fine, in that case, Quebec can separate, but they'll keep New Scotland. How's that? How will you be happy with that? Can you imagine?
Oh my god.
New Brunswick would be like an absolute no man's land, so nothing would change there.
New Brunswick is just one big border toll. Yeah, exactly. They just triple those.
I think whenever we invoke New Brunswick, we've gone so far afield from the scope of what should be the international segment of the show that we just kind of have to call it a day.
Yeah.
Just, nope, we've covered everything.
We're just listing her on Google Earth.
There may be some light at the end of some tunnel somewhere, but it's probably not anywhere we can see or think it is right now.
Exactly. We've heard tell that there is light at the end of various tunnels.
We'll believe it when we see it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I may have gone blind from living in this cave.
Well, we can't go out and see it in theater, though.
Yeah.
No.
I'm going to stay here. And
you don't want to see the light at the end of the tunnel while watching something in the theater. Sounds like a bad idea.
Me and Socrates are just going to stay here and we're going to do puppet animals. This one's a bat.
I actually got that reference.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of myself. My university education was really fun.
And now I shall talk on a treatise of 7 hours on the Republic.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.